Alright, hello and welcome to a new Let's Play of mine. I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of Unreal World. That's this game you see here. But before I start it, I want to show you where you can get this game and how to get it. So I'll open up one of these here. And yeah, you can see how I would I was just finished recording with the Dwarf Fortress tutorial. Whoops, I just clicked the wrong link out of habit, actually. Let's see, Unreal World. Yeah, you want to click their homepage, and on the buy the game screen here, you click that button, and you want to buy. Most likely, you just want to buy this version right here. It costs $3 to get this game, and unlike Minecraft, it's not an international transaction, which means that you don't have to go through PayPal if your bank decides that no international transactions are allowed. It's something that goes through a U.S. Subsidiary of whatever Finnish people came up with this game. So yeah, you can pay with any of these. You want to buy it through there, so I'll just click this button real quick. And that takes you to this screen. You can download a demo. I would recommend you download a demo first, just to get a feel for the game, and then you can go ahead and buy it. So there is something though, once you buy the game, it may not be readily apparent how to actually use it. Once you've downloaded the demo, you actually get this whole package here. The difference is that, as you'll see, you have to actually register it, and normally there's a button that says register it over here, but since mine is already registered, then it's already set up. So and don't bother trying to use my code. Doesn't work. Even if you have the game offline or whatever, it has to be validated online, so it does no good. But yeah, you buy the game, $3, definitely worth $3. No sales tax, unless you live in one of those states that actually has an internet transaction sales tax. And I don't know which those are, but good luck with that if you do. Alright, so go ahead and close this out, minimize it, and I'm going to stop the recording momentarily and resize it to get the game in full screen mode. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, welcome back. Or, not welcome back, I'm back. And I have made it so the recording is going in this little line around the part of the game that I will be playing from, and there's probably going to be little remnants of the window there. You can actually set the game up in full screen mode, but I prefer to do windowed mode for a variety of reasons. And before I actually get started creating character, I'd like to just show you what a very developed character looks like. And here's one character I made, Asmel. He's named for our mayor, our former mayor in the Dwarf Fortress LP, Asmel Lycoterith. So he's immortalized in my most advanced character. I had two living ones at the moment, but this is my best one. Started out in the summer and just have made it really far. I've got a huge cabin, and if you go over to my cellar, you'll notice I have 304 dried meat of cow, and then lots of other stuff, smoked pig. And you'll learn what all that means as I go on to play this game, but this is just kind of to show you what a really developed character might look like. And in reality, this is only one of the settlements that I've made, but since it's winter time, I don't do a lot of traveling. But yeah, that's going to be this character. And I'll actually just go ahead and pull up the world map. You can just see across the lands that I've been so far. This is my current location in the middle of a lake, basically on a small island. But the lake is frozen over because it's winter. I've also got a settlement way out here in the ocean that I was about to move to, but winter hit the day after I finished the cabin, so I couldn't actually move out there in time. Then you can see all these yellow squares. Those are settlements that I've been to or seen. The purple square there is a Nigerperzit. Not sure how to say that. I'm sure that some of the Finnish viewers might be able to figure that out. This game is actually set in like pre-medieval Finland, and it's about basically just surviving in an alternate reality of Finland where the world consists just of Finland and apparently some realm from which foreign traders can come. So you see this whole area here is the map that I've explored. If I go out to the main map mode, the traveling screen, you can see how big this whole area is, and it's absolutely massive. And most of this I've never actually really been to. I've just kind of scouted via looking at from a mountaintop, and from here just kind of going along the sea with my raft and stuff. But for most of this area, I had never even actually been to. And then in the bottom there, you can just see as a proportion of the whole map, what we're looking at is incredibly small. So the whole game world is massive in this in Unreal World, and every time you generate it, it's completely well, not completely random. It looks like Finland basically, but it is the internal parts and as well as the archipelago down here in the southwest are randomized a little bit. And you never end up with the same map, just kind of the same general outline of the map, because again, it's supposed to be based on Finland. But yeah, this is kind of what a developed character looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and start creating a new character. Save that real quick. And to do so, click on this button right here, create a character. I'm going to go with custom. I'll name this character, what to name? How about just Kalalification? That's, oh, can't fit that. So instead, how about we'll name him Pedro. Yeah. And the choose a culture. This is an important thing to do. All the cultures are good at different stuff. Some of them are terrible at everything. Some of them are really good at a lot of stuff. Probably the best is the Kamualainen, who have a lot of different skills that are really high. Also, the Owl tribe is really good, but they all have different specialties. Probably one of the worst ones is the Drikilainen, which is they're kind of like the people who live in cities. They don't actually live in the wild, really, and as a result, they're very kind of weak compared to most of the other cultures. But not necessarily. Again, it's completely random when you first generate a character, so you can keep scrolling through until you get a good one. And again, it determines just your host culture. But I think I want to be a seal tribe. No. Let's see. Northern peoples. I'm looking for one that is very good at fishing, because fishing is an incredibly good way to survive. And what's this? Sarto Loziet. They are apparently hunters and lots of nonsense. Remlian. Okay, so they are a little bit of everything. Calasian are agriculture, fishing and hunting. Seal tribe. I know they're like the best fishers, but they have really crappy other skills. Actually, I think I might pick the Kuika. Not certain. Yeah, we'll do a Kuika tribe. You got to choose your sex here. I'll be a male, because that'll be Pedro as male. You pick a portrait of your character. Go ahead and pick. And that one really does not look like a guy at all to me. I don't know what the heck's up with that one. And that one's just a little bit weird. Pick this guy. And the season you start in, this is very important. If you start in spring, you get a really long time to prepare for winter. It is, however, colder at the beginning of spring, and it's also nothing's really growing in spring. Summer is the easiest to start in because there's stuff is starting to grow. It's warm even at nighttime. It's bright at nighttime, and you can generally get a lot done in the summer. The downside is really that you don't have as much time to prepare for winter, and also food spoils pretty quickly in the summer. In autumn, I don't know of any advantages to autumn. I guess this is probably the main harvesting season, but beyond that, it gets cold in autumn. It's not as bright out in the night at autumn. It's you only have a very short time to prepare for winter, and it's very it's mediocre as a starting spot. Winter is a very dangerous place to spawn in. You can die from all kinds of things in this game. Frostbite is obviously a major threat, seeing as how we're set in the far north, and realistically, winter is just a terrible, terrible thing. If you don't prepare for it, you're screwed. You need to have a lot of things set up in order to survive through the winter. So I think I'll start. We'll go summer. Go easy on this character. This screen's important. Tells you your general skill layout. As I understand it, strength is the crap, how much you can carry, and some in your actual physical able to beat things up. Endurance, that's your like level of fatigue, how quickly you get tired. Dexterity, that's pretty much only a combat skill. Agility, I think, is your another combat skill. Speed, that's your physical running speed as well as also a combat skill. Eyesight, how far you can see. Obviously, hearing, you're able to sense certain things. Hearing's kind of annoying because you kind of wake up at night randomly if you hear stuff. But whatever. Smell and taste, I guess that's also to determine if things are there. No idea what touch could do. Intelligence, not really that important so far as I know. Will, also not that important. The fears, this is kind of important. If you have a fear and you experience whatever that fear is, then your character can black out. And blacking out would be very bad in a lot of situations. This one's not a very bad fear. Demophobia is the fear of people or crowds. You're generally isolated for most of this game, so that's one of the best fears you could have because you're almost never going to run into lots of people or crowds. On the other hand, if you're going and you're getting attacked by like a bunch of neige parasites, then they are going to annihilate you because you have a fear of them and you might black out in the middle of combat and die. That'd be terrible. The physique, this isn't that important so far as I know. It tells you your height is 63 inches or 160 centimeters, 120 pounds or 54 kilograms. So you're pretty thin, wiry dude. But you're about average almost. And I guess this is good enough for me. These are your rituals, your ability to kind of like get different abilities. They do different things. Like this one, if you do a ritual for a request for a catch, you have a greater chance of getting fish. Blood stanching prayer, you have a higher chance of healing yourself. You can, as far as I know, you can get all of the rituals unlocked, but you just start with like a couple. Then this is the important screen. This is the skills screen. The skills that we really want to have high. Number one, survival. That's really important. Timbercraft is incredibly important. Building, pretty important, but not at the beginning. Foraging is not important. Weather lore is not important. Fishing is important, but not if we have nets. Ritual, not that important. Cookery is mildly important. Think I'll invest this into carpentry. I'll put this one into building and this one into hide working. Okay, yeah. And then you can pick combat skills, but you can train combat skills up relatively easily. And I have a good enough skill in dagger that I don't really need to worry about it. And I also have some bow skills, so that's good. Physical skills, these are all mildly important, but not enough to put points in, I would say, especially not skiing or swimming. Climbing is pretty useful. Alright, so now it's going to generate the world. And you can see it's the same basic outline as that last one. However, there's obviously a lot of different features. On the map that I just showed you, this thing did not exist, whatever this was. The area where I lived is not, it's not there. Archipelago looks completely different. There's more snow. The lakes are more centered towards this area than over here as they were in mine. But yeah, it's different every time. Hit C to enable the culture map, which just tells you where the different tribes are. And I know who the tribes are and where I'm going to go, and it's going to be right here. But what I want to do is get rid of this thing, so you can hit I to do so. You can see this purple area down here. That's a death trap. Don't ever go there if you're intelligent, because you're already going to have enough Nije per is it everywhere else, so don't go there. Everywhere else, reasonably good, but the best spot is right here in the Drick settlements, because the Drick are the biggest traders that you're going to find. They have the biggest cities, and they're the ones that you're going to want to spend the most time around, since they are also the least hostile to my knowledge. So I'm going to go ahead and randomize until I get the right start location. I'll try a little bit of this on screen, see if I can get in the Drick settlement. Doesn't look like I'm going to get lucky while I'm on screen. So I will cut it and then bring you back once I've found an appropriate spot. Alright, so I found a suitable location. I've turned off the culture map mode and zoomed in a lot, but as far as I can tell, these kind of like dark lines connecting these whitish blobs are roads connecting cities, and that's inside the Drick lands. So my goal is to probably set up somewhere along here, or maybe over here, because water travel and going along the water is incredibly useful in this game, especially as you get later into the game. But yeah, this is kind of where we're going to be on the world stage for a long time. So let's get familiar with it and enter and play. There's one more step after we have chosen our start location. Now we have to pick up a startup scenario. For me, I think the best one is probably the fisherman. This is because you get some nets, and nets are your best friend. They are by far the easiest way to get food at the beginning of the game. Well, I suppose actually the easiest way is to kill an old man and like cannibalize them. Like literally, you can get hundreds of pounds of meat from cannibalism. Cannibalism is very useful. However, I have not survived very long on a cannibalistic character simply because people don't look kindly on cannibalism. So let's pick the I want to be a fisherman, and it tells you this nice little scenario about how we went fishing one day and our uncle taught us how to fish, and then eventually our uncle said that there was like a famine or whatever in our village, and our uncle caught some more fish, and he did not sacrifice an extra one to the gods, and that caused the boat to overturn, the whole catch to be lost, and thus the village blamed you because your uncle said that you were the one who had angered the gods by not sacrificing the catch, which means you were banished basically, and you ended up stealing some fishing equipment. So that's the scenario that we're in. And we are now going to pick one more thing after that, actually. That's the game course. There's some differences here. You can see on the right what they describe them as, but the way it works is this. The second one, the best one. The first one, the hardest one. The third one is for lunatics, so let's pick the second one. This is the in-game like wiki that tells you about all the material you need to know except for anything useful. This right here just describes what the Unreal world is and how it began. Apparently, a long time ago it was part of the real world, but eventually the elders noticed that after the first winter that the world was not real. So I don't really understand what they're talking about there, but that's fine. So here we are on the world map. Well, not the world map. We're on the, I suppose, kind of the local map, and we're looking at our character here. the surrounding wilderness, which right now is all trees. This picture here of our character that you should get familiar with, because we're going to be seeing a lot of this guy, and that describes what you're doing. Your condition, how you actually, I suppose this is your condition. This is more your temperament, I suppose. It tells you how hot you are, how cold you are, how hungry and thirsty you are, and also how tired you are. This tells you your wielded things. Probably we don't have too much to wield. And this tells you your heading, which is mildly useful, but it's extremely useful at winter in the night because you literally cannot see anything in front of you. You only have your heading to rely on. Your mobility tells you how fast you're going. We're moving at 90% because we're taking a 7% penalty from our carrying, our poundage that we're carrying. And this penalty is rather high for only carrying 34 pounds. On my other character, I guess I had more strength or something, so this number was pretty constantly small. Even if I was carrying like 100 pounds, it would only be like 12%. But whatever, that's fine. We can work with that. Now, as I recall, there was a lake on the main world map that's going to be north of our position. So what I'm going to do is start moving. But to do that, you can use the arrow keys. If you hit right on the arrow key, then your view changes. It does not move your character right. You hit right again, and your view changes again, and you do it again, and you can go full circle. This little lighted up green area, this is our visible range. The grayed out area, that's area we saw in the past, but we can't currently see. And the idea behind this is that you're looking this way. So you can only see things that are this way. We can't see very much area right now because we're in the middle of a pine forest, and it's extremely hard to see in the middle of pine forests. In this little, I don't know what type of trees these are. They're not pine trees, they're not conifers. Whatever deciduous tree these are, they're easier to see, a more visible range. If I go down here, you can see we see a lot more territory than we did in the other one. And that's revealed that we're kind of in the middle of a gigantic pine forest that's stuck, or that's itself in the middle of a large deciduous forests. As well, there's a small bog or mire, which is what they call it because this is in the far north after all, right here, that is partially pine, partially deciduous. But what we're going to do is we're going to head this way, and we're going to try to find a body of water. Oh look, a hill and a mountain. Alright, so this will give us a good lay of the land. As far as I can tell, we are extremely far from any civilization. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because there's going to be more wildlife because we're far from civilization. And I can see some water over there. I don't really want to settle down there first. I'm looking for somewhere that is a larger body of water. Like over here there's like a lake or something. We'll go up on this mountain and see what we got. Okay. Those are mildly decent spots. I'm actually going to run over here and get a drink, and the way I can do that is I hit Q on the keyboard for quaff. That means you put your hands like in a little cup and then drink the water by hitting yes. That'll get rid of our thirst, which you might have seen build up over here. Our hunger can also be lowered by drinking water, but hunger also represents your bodily nutrition, and as a result, if you aren't intaking sufficient amounts of nutritious food alongside water, you might starve, which is always a bad thing. Now what you can see here is I've stumbled across a big plain. This generally indicates that there are roads along here, and thus there's civilization. And I have actually found 2 settlements already, so 3 settlements. So 4 settlements. We're definitely in the heart of a 5 settlements, 6 settlements, of a Drick 7 settlements, Drick area. And this will be probably near our base of operations, because we always want to find lots of settlements with which we can trade. More so, dang, we are like in the heart of Drick civilization right now. Wow. Unfortunately, there's no major bodies of water that are really that close to these Drick villages. I'm actually going to have to eat some food right now. So you can see I hit Shift E. That brings up the Eat menu. You can also just open your inventory and click the Eat button. Now I want to select a food. I'm going to click wheat bread. So my guy eats for a couple minutes. That significantly reduces our hunger meter. It also completely removes all of our wheat bread that we had because we were very hungry. And so now we've got a limited food supply to work with. And what I want to do, hopefully, is find, and it doesn't look like I'm going to actually, find a significant body of water near these Drick villages. I'm looking for something like a river. And this is unfortunate because rivers allow you to travel very quickly and travel... Ooh, look at that, there's a bear right there in the wilderness. You know what? We are going to attempt to take on this bear. Okay, there's a stag actually that just wandered across my screen. You can see it's right there. I'm going to go into hide mode, and then I'm going to wait one turn, and then I'll walk. Oh, dang it. I just snapped a twig and alerted the stag, so now he is running. I'm going to stop hiding. And you can see the stags over there running away. If I can just get close enough to throw something at it, I might be able to kill the stag. Or at least wound it, incapacitate it a little bit. But it doesn't look like that's going to be... Oh, wait, maybe if it wanders into this plane over here. Yes! Okay, let's throw something. We'll throw this spear at the stag and see if we can hit it. Throw it at the body. Dang it. Alright, well that was a rather unsuccessful attempt to kill the stag, and it looks like he's escaped into the forest over there. I don't want to pursue him any further because there's simply no way I'm going to catch him. Take a drink from the small little pond, or whatever this is, and we'll go back to the world map. And unfortunately, we have lost that stag. We are not going to be able to kill it. And, you know, I'm already starting to think we're not going to have any way to get significant quantities of food right off the bat because, oops, entered that village by accident. Because we have no major bodies of water and we are essentially a fisherman. And what that means is we are not going to have any way to sustain ourselves in the long term. Ah, dang it, I accidentally entered the settled area again. Yeah, there's a nice little Drick village here with all kinds of nonsense. Ooh, look at that. Some random goods in here. Let's just go inside the shop, see what we got for sale. 3 fistfuls of cranberries and some junk. 3 broadswords. Some linen cows. Blah, blah, blah. Useless stuff. Okay. But we really can't be screwing around in these villages because we need to find a river or a lake or something. There's another mountain. This might reveal to us. Unfortunately not. I shouldn't be traveling so much because we need to start collecting food, but there's literally nothing that I can do for the time being, simply because we have to find somewhere to fish. And right now, there isn't anywhere to fish, except for all the way back down there. Now, if you look at the world map, it looks like the best way to go get some fish is basically going to be to go to the southeast here. And we are really pushing it with our hunger levels. But that's okay. You can go hungry for a long time before you'll actually die of starvation. And by long time, I mean a couple of days. So we're not as concerned about that. Much more important than hunger is thirst. You always need to have a steady supply of water available. Another village here. Let's check the main map. Maybe there is a river up here. Come on. There's a body of water. Okay, this is just going to have to do for tonight, because I can't go wandering around the wilderness for much longer. And we're going to sit right here on the edge of this body of water. Going to drink from it. Going to hit Alt-G to bring up the fishing menu. Set up a net for catch. Throw down a net there. Repeat. Throw down a net there. And you know what? We don't actually have the energy to build a shelter, so I'm just going to hit Shift 3, hit S to pass out right there on the shoreline there, and drink our hunger away, at least part of it, and then eat the rest of that food that I brought with me. So we are officially out of food, which is very unfortunate. But the good news is we have a hand axe. A hand axe is one of the most useful tools that you'll get, because hand axes essentially are the jack of all trades when it comes to tree or timber craft. Well, I should probably explain what I just did there. Hit Alt F to bring up the timber craft menu, and hit F again. You can then pick a direction to chop down a tree, and I'm going to pick that tree to my left there and chop that down, turn it into a tree trunk. Alright, so that took like an hour probably, and we there have a tree trunk. And I'm also going to cut down, actually first cut off some branches from this tree here. And doing so will allow me to set up a part-time shelter right along the shore here. As soon as I chop down this tree and move its Slender trunks up to this area here, I should be able to go to the survival menu and build a shelter right here, and my guy will spend a little bit of time making it, and now if we go to sleep, we can sleep there and avoid being caught in the rain or other things like that. Now we do have a fishing rod with us, so we don't have much to do, because we simply are going to be depending on having lots of food for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and pick our fishing rod and active fish for a while. Our fishing skill is pretty high, so we should be able to catch something. Maybe not on our first go, but should catch some food. You can see we caught nothing there. And we are really getting hungry at this point. You can see when my hunger is filled with water, okay, good, got some fish there, that it will rise a lot faster when I have to actually do work, because we're working on an empty stomach. Alright, so what I just did there was I picked up the fish that we caught. We caught two small fishes, a roach and a bream, which are basically good for filling a small portion of your hunger bar. What I'm going to do is build a fire and set it to go right here in the tree trunk. And then I'm going to open up the cooking menu and roast those two fish that we caught. Yes, the test completed. And now it wants me to cook a raw pike that it's about to give me. This is a good event. That's one of the reasons you pick the starter course, because it gives you a bunch of free stuff. No matter how many times you go through it, it still gives you all the tutorial items. So yeah, good news. So that food's going to take a little while to cook, especially the pike. That'll probably take a few hours to cook it on that fire as well. The roasted roach and other things will be ready in, not too long from now. Our nets will probably have food for us by the morning tomorrow, and I will pick them up and eat from the nets, but for now we're going to leave them alone, because if you pick up your nets early, then you're not going to get anything out of them. So if I just spin in circles here, you can see my hunger already rising. And this will pass time. You can also pass time by sleeping, by holding down the period key. But it's fun to spin in circles, so let's eat our bream. Actually, I think, yeah, roaches are smaller, so we'll eat a roach. Oh, and I totally forgot, we have a ritual to catch a fish, so Let's perform that
Kun
ritual.
tuimaa lienet, niin tuimaa tulee
And there's
enemmän
some...
lienet, hinkuhinkalosta mennessä hinkuhinkalon perästä hinkuhinkalon perään.
Yeah, I guess that's finish. So, every time you do any kind of prayer ritual, you get to hear that. Interesting stuff. But now that we've performed that ritual, we're going to go ahead and try fishing again. And we are not going to get any fish out of that. So I cut it off early because our pike was sitting back there. And also, we don't want to starve ourselves. That's bad news, to starve yourself. So, having food for the day and ready to go to sleep after a long day's work, we're going to go ahead and hit up the shelter. We wake up with basically a starving stomach. Actually, we literally are starving at this point. I will eat some of the fish we caught. And then I'm going to go over here to our nets and pull one up. Pull the other one up, we get some fish. Lots of fish. This is why nets are incredibly helpful. They give you just drastically huge returns on your investment. You only have to make a few cups to get them, and I'll explain how trade works later. But if you start off as a fisherman, no matter what character you have, you're going to do good because you can set up nets. And then pick up all these fish. Head over to our fire, which is still burning because we burned a whole thingy, and we're gonna cook all this. So 4 perches. Cook some more food. Lavarets. Lavarets are probably the most nutritious fish in the game. I think they are, anyways. Not entirely sure about that. Trout might be better, but I don't know. Alright, so we do have a little bit of freedom from constant subsistence living right now. So with that time, we're going to go ahead and start some woodworking. Throw down our nets first. And by the time we cut down one of these trees, our fish should be ready, probably. So I think we'll go ahead and make cups at first. Clubs are probably better for beginning woodcrafters because clubs allow you to just cut down a tree and immediately turn that into a good. But the cup is much more valuable than a club and also weighs significantly less. So you can carry more cups to trade with. You can easily carry over 100 cups and still have room in your inventory versus being able to carry maybe 40 clubs and only clubs. And you'd be able to get much more with 100 cups than you could with 100 clubs. So having cut down that tree, we are ready to turn it into blocks. And having turned it into blocks, let me just explain something real quick. You'll notice when I do work, my hunger bar goes up. As you eat more nutritious food and you have access to a more varied diet, and generally if you just eat lots of meat or fish, this will also help your diet out. You'll be able to work longer without suffering as much penalty in the hunger department. And in fact, we're probably going to be free from worrying about starvation in a few days completely, at least for the near term. So let's pick up some blocks of wood. We'll pick up just 3, and we want to go to the make menu, and we'll make a utility article, some wooden cups, and we'll start making cups. And this will take several hours, not for each cup, but to do the entire process, it will take quite a while. Maybe, oh yeah, apparently it almost takes several hours for each cup. That's due to just how inefficient our current skill at Timbercraft is, or carpentry rather. And on my other character, my Timbercraft skill started out way lower than 24%. I think at my current rating on Asmel, it's like at 40% or so. Carpentry is also very useful. This is the skill that basically lets you make cups and shovels and all kinds of crap. Timbercraft is turning wood into firewood, turning wood into logs, all that stuff. I got a free fishing rod, which we'll use to trade with because of the game course event. Alright, so having made one, we'll go ahead and pick out another one. To repeat an action that you've already performed, just hit R, and it will do whatever it says right here. And it says craft an item. In reality, it's going to craft the item that I had last selected for crafting, which was a wooden cup. Alright, so eat another part of our pike there. And you can see how even though when we had eaten like a bream, that had eaten the whole bream and not filled up our hunger all the way, you can eat several parts of a pike and still not have your hunger filled up. I mean, have your hunger filled up completely and not have the pike gone. Alright, so we are working on the cup there. Alright, so finish the cup, and we have now made all 3 cups that I had ordered up at first. We can now go to sleep because it's evening and we're a little bit tired. If we go to sleep earlier, we have over the long term we have lots more time in the day, because now we start in the early morning instead of just morning, which gives us more daylight to work with. Right, so this day we're probably going to focus entirely on crafting cups, because we want to be able to trade some stuff back at the Drick cities, so that we can reduce the amount of labor we have to do to earn the same amount of living. Eat some more of that pike. And you can just see just 1 pike how much it's already given me in terms of storage space. And we have a couple more cups to make. And it takes a really long time right now for us to make cups. Oops, accidentally ate a little bit of lavaret. But as time goes on, you can do it much quicker. You can make anything much quicker. And the more time you have, the more you can do with that time. So that's very good. Oops. So yeah, we have finished another batch of cups. Have again sort of freed ourselves from the worry of hunger. Gonna pull up a net. Nothing there. Got some more fish. 2 more lavarets to purchase. In general, if you have lavarets, then you're good to go. You don't really have to worry as much about food, because a single lavaret can hold you over for days. And in days, you can catch a lot more fish. Especially if you've got nets. If you're just fishing with a fishing rod, you don't have that great of a chance. But if you're using nets, you're guaranteed at least some fish. Like 99% of the time, you're going to end up with a little bit of fish. And usually at least one of those fish is a heavy-duty one, like a lavaret or a pike. Alright, so go back to the crafting menu, and by the way, to access that, you hit Shift-M, and you select from Handcraft what you want to make, and then to go to Utility Articles and then Cups. And then you go to your inventory and you pick your blocks of wood. So yeah. One thing to note, over here it says using a hand axe works okay, but takes a bit longer. There's several tools in this game, and the hand axe is decently good at everything, but not very. It's not perfect at everything, and it's much better to have specific tools to finish a job than a general one. But luckily we did start with the hand axe, because in another game I started out with only a woodsman's axe, which is the axe you use to fell trees. And I could not actually shape wood very efficiently at all. Alright, so it's raining, it's afternoon, I'm lively. I have finished cooking all that fish on the shore there. And I'm just going to carve these cups out inside our shelter. And, oops, accidentally hit enter. I do that occasionally, and it's just a very annoying thing for me to do, because it brings you out to the world map, and when you go back in from the world map to a regular zone, you don't start out where you were last. That's okay, though. I should be able to find where I was, given that the body of water is up and right from where I was. Alright, so yeah, opened up into a little bit of a clearing here. Just navigating these trees. Alright, yeah, so it should be right down here somewhere. Oy vey. One thing that's nice about the rain, although you can't sleep in it, if you're really far away from water, you can drink rainwater, and it works just the same as regular water. The only thing rainwater can't do that regular water can do is to fill containers and be used in crafting as a result of that. So, Do we have any more blocks of wood to carve? No. I think I'm going to go ahead and hit sleep. We'll wake up after midnight, so it's still night out, which is pretty good because that means the earlier you are to rise, even if it's, you know, in the small hours, as it were, the AMs, early AMs, the more daylight you have. So we're going to have to chop down a new tree, and very soon we're going to head into a Drick village for trading, because we have lots of wooden cups to give away. Not really lots, but enough to get a tool. And at the beginning of the game, most of what you're going to be doing is, if you're near the Drick anyways, you're going to be bargaining for tools. And tools are essentially the best thing you can get at the beginning of the game, because they're going to reduce the amount of labor you have to do. So yeah. Our net should have some new stuff. Pull the net up. Nope, nothing today. That's okay though. We have enough food to last us for several days at this point. The only concern you really have at the beginning of the game is that food, roasted food anyways, will spoil rather quickly, in a matter of days in fact, and as a result you constantly have to be acquiring new food to roast. Once we get a building up, and that won't be too long from now, I'll start making one because I've learned the value of having a structure. Then you can start smoking food, because smoked food lasts. I mean, I have not even had a single piece of smoked food go spoiled in my game yet. That's how long it lasts, and it's very easy to make. So yeah, smoked food, very good. You can also trade for dried food, or you can make it yourself, but we can't make it in the summer. You have to make it in the winter or early spring, when it's cold, basically. But dried food will last a whole year, and if you put it in a cellar, it will last longer than a whole year. So it's very good to have dried food. It's like the best emergency food you can get. So we have got a pretty decent sized number of cups. As soon as I finish this batch of cups, we are going to wander into a village and see what we can get for what will be, what is that, 15 cups? 13, 14? Can't tell. Enough cups to get something. You can buy an animal for like 11. A cow takes like 30 something, but a cow is absolutely worth it. I mean, cows are your absolute best animal friends out there. The only downside is that there's a limited number of cows that villages have to sell you. But I mean, you could last a whole year if you dry cow food, or cow meat rather. And even though it says we're tired, there's actually it takes very little stamina to travel compared to actually doing work. So we're gonna go to this Drick village here. And every time we enter a village, it'll kind of offset, and the recording will look a little bit weird, but then it goes back to being normal. So we'll go this way. There's a fishing store here. We'll see if they have any nets available. I can get this guy to move. Okay, no, he doesn't have any nets available. Nets, again, probably the best, most useful tool in the game, because they free you from hunger. They free you from a subsistence living, really. And if you don't have a constant supply of food, the game can be very difficult, because you're going to be basically living from hand to mouth. Take a drink of that water. And you can see our nutrition's already relatively high enough that we can walk around quite a bit without having to worry about our hunger. This Drick village apparently doesn't have very many shops. You can see they're growing a number of crops here, just randomly strewn about. They don't really have developed agriculture, but villages tend to be in that area. There's some tool shops. I can see some useful stuff here. The thing we want is a woodsman's axe, splitting axe. Those are all useful. We'll be getting all the axes at some point, but at the beginning you want a woodsman's axe. Another splitting axe, carving, hunting. Alright, might have to go to another village to get what we want. Yeah, it looks like it. One annoying thing about villages, you cannot leave them directly while you're in them, because apparently there's activity going on. but that's fine because you can just walk a little bit away and you'll be able to leave. And as you saw, we're going to have tons of villages to go to, and they're going to have lots of products for us. Haven't seen any, like, capital. Ooh, this village is wonderful. All these little dudes here, these are all sheep. And sheep have wonderful, wonderful meat, as well as fur. You can actually make furs out of them. So that's beautiful stuff. Make some clothes, make cords, all kinds of wonderful products that come from sheep. What does this guy got for us? Move out of the way, buddy. Turnips, bracelets, fishing rods, ringed mushrooms, mushrooms again. Mushrooms are dangerous. Don't eat mushrooms. Oh god, there's some dogs. My other character has a fear of dogs, so he sometimes blacks out. If I ever go into villages where they have pens full of dogs. That's annoying, but it's not particularly dangerous, because usually dogs are not the kind of wild creature that might try to eat your soul or whatever. Looks like they have a woodsman's axe in here, and the general goods store. Those are hand axes, dang it. What's this? Sickles, perches. Here's a tool store. It looks pretty big. Broad axe. Is that what that said? No, broad knife, splitting axe. Wow, apparently these guys are really low on useful tools. Go ahead and eat some of our lavarette. You can try to trade in food, but that's pretty much utterly useless, so I would not advise it. There's another general goods store. They sell a little bit of everything. Sometimes they sell goods that you can't find in any of the other stores. But overall, they probably won't have the same inventory ever in stock. So, unlike the other stores, which have a relatively constant stream of like whatever material they're trying to provide, general goods stores just have random crap every time you come to the village. You can talk to people, and that's the way you purchase animals, get companions, all kinds of stuff. But I don't want to talk to any of these guys because I don't care about them. It's also how you find out about world news, incidentally. Alright, go down this road here. I'm not worried about passing out over in this region of the world. It's a safe area to be. Sans the bears, obviously. And again, we don't have a permanent location yet. We are living in a small shack by a lake, which is not at all where I want to be living. Probably the best place to live is on islands. Islands that are close to civilization, preferably. But you can live anywhere. All these buildings they have, you can make buildings exactly like them if you wanted. Okay, I think I saw a woodsman's axe in here. Carving axe. Move. Are you gonna move? Come on. Path your way around. I'll move out of the way there. No, he didn't have one. Carving axe. I think those are dogs. Another bunch of sheep. So we'll have plenty of, I mean, like, almost infinite supply of meat if we ever need to get it from villages. Clothing store. There's a sauna. You can go in here and use the sauna scoop, which is this thing I'm standing on, and it will make your character like really comfortable. It's kind of like you sweat out all of your ailments, I guess. Drink some of those raindrops. I don't think there are any other tool shops in this area. Unfortunate. So yeah, we're just searching around trying to find a woodsman's axe. All of the different tool shops, they'll carry different products over time, like they'll switch out and get different types of tools. So, you know, if we don't find a woodsman's axe right off the bat, that's fine. We'll buy a different axe, come back and get a, ooh, is this it? That's splitting axe again. Broad axe, carving axe, move, 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 move. You're standing on an axe, I bet. Nope. Okay, carving axe is the next best thing. We'll buy that. Offer him 5 cups. And we'll offer him another cup. And then we'll offer him 1 more cup, 1 more cup, 1 more cup. Trying to buy it for as little as possible. Oh wow, that was pretty good. The exact amount of cups we had was enough to buy it. Okay, carving axes allow us to make cups faster. So, yeah. Pretty awesome stuff, huh? Alright, eat some more of our roasted bream. And we'll leave this village and come back when we need to. Probably not that village for a while. You can make clearings, you can make villages, all this stuff if you wanted. But that would be a significant investment in time. Really, after you get the hang of this game, you're free to do whatever you want, and you have the tools to accomplish it, pretty much. Still in early development, but, you know, pretty awesome so far, so let's go ahead and see if we caught anything. Yep, caught some breams, 8 breams. I didn't catch anything in the other one. Gonna set up another net. And we're gonna pass out. Alright, woke up in the nighttime because we thought we heard something rustle. I've never had anything happen to me because of something rustling, so I'm not entirely sure what purpose that serves other than to allow me to wake up and eat so that in the morning we aren't starving. Go back to sleep, wake up in the morning, we'll feel comfortable and safe. It's because we slept inside of a shelter instead of on the ground. And it's a nice peaceful day here in the spruce mire that is known as Tuiscalio, whatever. And we're gonna go ahead and start making cups again. Hooray, cups! Oh wait, we actually need to cook that food we caught, so let's chop down this tree over here. And we will use our hand axe because we have no woodsman's axe yet. All the axes do different things, but if you have all of them, you can perform tasks very quickly. Woodsman's axes are the axes that cut down trees. Carving axes are the ones used to carve items like small cups and bowls and things like that. Broad axes are what you use to create wooden buildings and carve trunks into logs. Splitting axes are used to create blocks and firewood. And hand axes are the kind of all-around, every-purpose axe. And I think that's all there are for axes. Probably forgetting one of them. Oh well. Oh wait, we don't want to chop this. Never mind. Okay, we'll have to just burn a couple of blocks instead of a whole tree. Actually, screw burning a whole tree. We're just going to burn this tiny one. Because it's kind of a waste of lumber. Not that there's any shortage. I mean, half the game world is gigantic coniferous forest. Alright, so we'll roast it. Thing about making cooked food, you only need to have a fire going when you start the cooking. It can burn out during the cooking and it will not affect the quality of your food, which is great news. Otherwise it would be very tedious to make food. And blocks of wood are very heavy. We are at 215 pounds of weight right now, and that's after having 4 blocks. Each one weighs like 40 pounds, I think. Around 40 pounds. And a cup only weighs like 0.2, 0.3, maybe it's 0.25 pounds. So you can carry freaking tons of cups. Alright, so we'll eat some of this pike. And soon we'll probably have food starting to go spoiled. Which is fine because again we have nets set up, we have a constant supply of food. And as long as you have nets, no matter if it's winter, if it's summer, if it's spring or whatever, you're good to go. Because nets will give you constant food. I don't need to pick up more blocks. You can only pick up 3 blocks at a time, generally, unless your strength is very high. But you can hold as many blocks as you want. You just can't pick up any more than 3 at once. You won't be able to move necessarily with lots of blocks, but you'll definitely be able to, you know, put them in your backpack or whatever you keep all this crap you hold in. Alright, so almost finished with that pike. Got some more blocks. And the beginning of the game, really what you want to do is just keep making blocks and then making cups out of those blocks, because then you can get all the tools you need, and then once you have the tools you can start making yourself a real settlement. And then things get really interesting, so good stuff. I generally prefer a more civilized way of life. I don't really ever do agriculture because it's a long-term project, like you have to plan across the whole year kind of thing. But I do like to use domesticated animals, get milk from cows and meat from cows, and get fur and wool and all that stuff. I generally do not spend my time out in the woods hunting stags and bears because I don't want to die. Just not my style, I guess. But you certainly can play that way. The game's probably designed more to accommodate you than it would be to accommodate me. But to each their own, Go ahead and pass out. It is midnight after all. Woke up and we were not starving for the first time yet. That's wonderful news. It means our nutrition is starting to get very much higher. You can burn through these small fish really quickly, and that's what we want to do, because the faster we get through them, the faster we can get to our bigger fish, which means they will not go spoiled, and thus be wasted. And even though I've already got just, massive amounts of fish, the only reason that I keep setting up nets, just to be able to have constant supply of food, and therefore eliminate the need of worry that comes from spoiled food. This is definitely not going to be our permanent base of operations, by the way. I'm thinking probably going to go, if you see that black square on the bottom, somewhere closer to the coastline. And I'd really like to find a river going down to the ocean, and also back to the surface, because ideally that allows us to transport tons of goods across a very large area of land very quickly. And it's just why most civilizations develop along rivers, because they provide you water, they provide you transportation and power and a sewage system. So rivers are very useful. Can't tell. Yeah, that was a small tree. Whoops. You cannot make cups with slender tree trunks. You can make lots of other stuff with them, though. You can make clubs, you can make tons of stuff from it. Primarily, though, you work with large trunks from big trees. So cut down that tree, eat some more food. And don't let your hunger, whenever you eat stuff, don't let it build up to all the way, because you want to build up nutrition. And if you keep waiting till you're almost starving to eat food, then you're not ever going to have high nutrition. You want to eat when you have just a little bit of hunger. If you're up to here and you have some free time, eat some food. If you're up here, eat some food. But don't let it get up here, and I would not advise letting it get into this entire range. At the beginning of the game, it's harder to avoid that simply because you just start out with really crappy nutrition. But that's no excuse. You don't really need to worry about this right here. It says we're hot. That doesn't really affect you. What really affects you is if it says cold, and then it says bitterly cold, and then it says freezing. Because if it gets in that range, your character starts to suffer injury from frostbite. And frostbite is like the only injury that you cannot cure. Frostbite does not go away, and it permanently impedes your movement. So be very careful around frostbite. Just a little summary of how to use things fast, like the hotkey it. You see there's a little letter by all of these, and you hit Shift S to go to your skill menu, by the way. If you hit Alt and then hit the key that's in this menu, you can bring up that menu. So instead of having to hit Shift S and scroll down to Timbercraft, I can hit Alt F and then pick from what I want from there. But for making things, go Shift M and then pick what you want. So I'm going to make cups again. We are up to 8 plus 2. We are up to 10 cups at the moment. And a lot of this game, you're going to be kind of sitting here performing repetitive tasks. As time goes on and I feel less need to explain what I'm doing, I'm going to be editing out tons of nonsense and keeping it as a more, like active tile of update. If something's happening, I can bring you back. If nothing's happening, I will play the game. But yeah, kind of like how Dwarf Fortress goes. If there's nothing going on in the fort, I go ahead and do it myself. But for now, since it's the beginning of the game and this is kind of a tutorial of how to play, how to get started, I kind of want you guys to understand the principles of the game. And also the beginning of the game is pretty active. Well, not really that active, but you do a lot of stuff in it. And you have a very obvious goal at hand. Pull these nets up. Caught tons of fish. More fish. 10 breams. Wow, we have lots of fish. Oh, by the way, even though it's raining, you can still light a fire in the rain. Your fire will go out a lot quicker. But again, since you only need to have your fire started for the beginning of the cooking process, that's fine. We're just gonna light these, this trunk. And, sometimes you just gotta keep making fires for quite a while. There we go. But when I'm cooking, roast that new fish that we caught. 13 breams. At this point, it's more of a burden now to carry around so much food. So one of the things I really want to get developed pretty soon is a cellar. And that will allow us to store food for a long time. This rain's very loud. Oops. Make some more cups. Once I make these cups, I'm going to go back into town, see if we can't get another axe. Hopefully a woodsman's axe. Alright, rain's gone. Pick all this stuff up. If you leave cooked food out too long, then it will be it will spoil, even if you the fire's gone out, and that's just because if it's laying on the ground, it goes spoiled very quickly. Wonder if there's any good spots around here to really set up. Not really. I mean, there's some mildly okay ones, but I would not advise setting up anywhere around this coastline for now. The main reason, again, just because this lake is completely disconnected from the ocean system and thus is not a very efficient way of travel. So yeah, got stuff working out right now. Make another roasted pike. Alright, so now that cooking is finished, head into town again. We'll go check out, see if this store has new stuff in stock. Should. It's been a few days since we've been here last. So, if I hit spacebar, there we go, we're in. Is there anything? Nets? No nets. And even if it doesn't have any new axes in stock, it had some axes that we didn't have yet. There's a splitting axe. I think the same axe was right there. Splitting axe, carving axe. Move! If you keep running into them, they usually figure out how to move. But sometimes they have trouble with that. Not in that tool shop, perhaps in this one. Move again! You can see there's pots there. Pots are pretty good stuff. You need them for lots of cooking. They carry water so that you don't have to constantly be near a source of water. Although, again, that's advised for lots of reasons beyond simply drinking. So yeah, nothing in this village. Go to a different one. Apparently there's still activity going on out here. You can see human footprints in the ground there because our tracking is relatively high. Well, actually it's not very high, but compared to my last character who had 0% tracking, this guy is phenomenal. Also, humans are very easy to track. Enter this village. We're just going to make the circuit again, trying to find a woodsman's axe. That's probably the most important one besides the hand axe. Because the woodsman's axe is the one you're going to use the most frequently, really. I mean, you chop down trees a lot more than you're working with trees. Broad axe. Oh, that's a splitting axe, no. Unfortunate. Check out the general goods store. Ooh, there's some axes. Hand axes again, still. Right, so this whole area seems to pretty much be the same sets of tools. So what I'm going to do is go to that other area where all the villages were, over there to the west, and try to find a larger settlement. You can tell the size of a settlement by looking at its picture. Some settlements are relatively small. Other ones can be encased in a stone wall. And I think those are supposed to be like capitals or something. But they are often surrounded by smaller villages, and are usually the best spots to go for trade goods. They're kind of like the capital, I think. I don't know. Oh, there's one right there. You can see it's surrounded by a ring of rocks. From my experience, the entrance to the fortress they have is always on the east side. So enter from the east, so you don't have to run around in a circle around it. There it is, right there, the entrance. There is only one entrance to the fortress, which is made of a bunch of rocks stacked up next to each other. Not exactly the most grandiose fortress ever, but gets the job done. Splitting, carving axe, move, splitting axe. Someone has got to have a woodsman's axe. Ah, here we are, bigger tool shed. Perhaps there's one here. Move. There we go. He's moving now. Nope, nothing there. Check out their food store, see if they have anything useful in stock. Some places have granaries where they keep stuff like this here. This bag of rye flour. That is a common thing to find in a granary. In a granary, rather. And you can make bread and stuff using that. But bread is not a very nutritious food compared to meat, so it's not a very useful one in my opinion. Warhammer, 3 broadaxes. I will buy 1 broadaxe because broadaxes will be useful for what we're gonna do. Give you 3 cups or 4 cups, and then 2 cups, and then 2 more cups, and then 4 cups, 2 cups, 1 cup, 1 cup, 1 cup. Dang it. Alright, well, we'll give him one of our fishing rods as well. Oh, wow. Apparently this is a very valuable one or something. I don't know. Give you 13 roasted breams, because I'm not going to eat those. And 2 more. No? How about 8 more? There we go. That's good. That's a good deal. Well, that's actually a terrible deal, but whatever. A broadaxe will be extremely useful to us, because broadaxes will allow us to make buildings more easily. So exit the fortress there and head out. Dang it, I accidentally entered this village. As you become more developed, you will go into town with no less than 50 cups, and you can make those cups much more quickly than we have been making them. And you can get a lot more for your money, because you have got more chutzpah, if you will. There's a granary. You can see they just got bags of flour and grain in there. More sheep. Haven't seen any cows yet. Cows are a very, very, very valuable an item. Where did I have base camp at? Hit F6 and check. Oh yeah, I forgot we had to cross that large... Ooh, a fox. Let's encounter this fox. Okay, throw a spear at you. Prepare to die, fox. Dang it. Throw a club at you. Alright, fox got away. I'm not going to bother chasing him because he is going to way outrun me. What that tells me, though, is the fact that I've encountered so much wildlife already. That tells me basically that if I set up a trap fence in this area, it might actually get some meat, which would be useful. Yeah, this is where we're at. I forgot to put our nets back out. Which is fine, because we already have an excess of food. You want to throw another net up? Net up. Repeat, net up. Fire's still going. Drink these raindrops. It's evening and we are lively. Let's go ahead and actually sleep if we can. Yeah. It is the small hours. That's a good time of day to start. Let's see. Nothing is spoiled yet. That's good news. We've been carrying around an extra 40 pounds this whole time because we could have made it into a cup. Which is kind of useless. You can also make bowls, which are more valuable than cups, but they take much longer to make than cups, so I would not recommend building them. Unless you have lots of free time on your hands. In the winter time, you got a lot of free time, because you don't want to go running outside in the winter generally, and so you're kind of trapped in your cabin, if you have one. You better have one by the winter time. So you have a lot less exploring to do, I guess. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it might be a good time to start up a cellar. To get a cellar, you need stones. You need 10 stones to be exact, and also generally good idea to have a shovel. We only have a wooden one, but that's fine because we only need one cellar, and we don't need to dig any trap fences. You also need like branches and some other easily obtainable stuff. But stones are the main thing. Usually you don't transport stones by hand because they're very heavy. You want to transport them by boat, by raft. Which is again one reason that having an island base is extremely optimal. And drop another stone right up here like that. Okay, that's 6 stones. We need 4 more. And then we can begin construction of a cellar. Just look around this area here for some stones. The ones that look like little 3 groups, those are rocks. They're used in arrow production and nothing else, so far as I know. The bigger ones are stones. This game works like Dwarf Fortress in adventure mode, in that when you go to the edge of a map, it will generate a new section. It won't generate like randomly. Like all the sections of the map, so far as I know, exist independently of random generation as soon as the world is created. But it will have to load into those new cells. That's unfortunate that we didn't find any along that side. We'll have to go the other side. Could go deeper into the forest to look, but I just want to look around the coast. Also a good time to kind of explore our area, I guess. Some random trunks may be falling around. Sometimes that may be your only hope of getting trees at the beginning of the game because you don't have any axes. Again, I have to load. So we got like 1 stone out of this side. That means we need 3 more. And there's one. And there's a bunch right there, so you need 35 stones to make a fireplace, which obviously is a pretty large undertaking. And again, you cannot carry 35 stones at once. You just would not be able to carry that much weight. You can't carry 10 at once. So to transport that, you either have to do it by hand by hitting the M key to move and then just moving it down to your location, or else you have to put it on a boat and get it there much easier and quicker. And obviously there's some bias in what I just told you, but it's positive bias, right? Eat some food. And our nutrition now, you can see just how much less, like, hunger increases when we do stuff. Drop these 4 stones. We also need branches, I think. Let me check. Building BC. We need boards, which we can get pretty easy. 6 slender trunks and 10 stones and a shovel. So there's a small tree right there. Cut that down for the trunk. Well, a couple of them anyways. Hopefully they're 5. 3 works too, I guess. Gotta move these by hand because we don't have a boat. Luckily, it does not take very long. If you're moving like 6 logs at once, or 6 tree trunks at once, it can take like 45 minutes, which is obviously extremely long compared to like the 1 minute it takes to move these. Move these bad boys over here too. And then we just need branches, I think. Isn't that? Or spruce twigs? I can't remember. We'll have to look. Dang it, hit E by accident. I do that pretty frequently, so get used to that over this Let's Play. Whoa, voice crack. If any of you ever are playing this game and you have questions, or if you're in the demo and you have questions or whatever, ask them in the comments and I'll be sure, or on my profile obviously, or you could even message me, I don't really care. I'll be able to answer them to the best of my abilities. The wiki for this game is very sparsely developed, to say the least, so I would not advise basing all of your decisions on it because a lot of it is from previous versions of the game. I, however, have the current version of the game, the most recent one, and as a result will be able to answer your questions probably more effectively than the wiki could ever do. Alright, so, oh, we got our first spoiled food almost. Probably getting there soon. It said we had some spoiled food in our pack. Well, it said something was smelling foul in our pack in reality, but that's fine. And I'm just going to move this here because I'm going to cut it into boards, and I want the boards to be closer to the area I'm kind of living in at the moment. Takes quite a while to use to cut this up. Wait a minute, I thought I have a broad axe. Don't I? Yeah, I do. Oh wait, yeah. It takes a splitting axe, I believe, to make boards. Okay, we want to move, what is it, 6 trunks? Or boards, rather. Alright, so now we can begin digging this wonderful little cellar. Oops. ML. Oops. MBC. Over. Space. And this will take probably a couple hours for our character to do because, number one, we've got an issue of a wooden shovel. Number two, we are not very experienced at building. And number three, we're relatively tired. If you start building something when you are first in the day, then you will have much better success at doing it within a reasonable amount of time. Alright, so late afternoon, it's getting dark outside, pull up these nets, nothing, push, lavarettes, breams. We'll cut down this tiny tree over here and cook them real quick, and then we'll go to bed. Okay, there's that fire, roast them, lavarettes. And again, lavarettes are just your best friend, because they give you so much nutrition. They are extremely long-lasting as well. And just one lavarette can last you days. Well, not days, probably a day and a half. I don't know why I did that. Oh yeah, so the time would pass. Breams are ready, the lavarettes will be done probably by the time I finish cutting down this big tree. Okay, it's done. Drink some of that rainwater, eat a lavarette. I'll drop off these new 3 roasted lavarettes and 5 breams into our cellar. That makes it last twice as long. By now, I'm surprised that there's not spoiled food in our pack. Probably we're going to see a spoil notification pretty soon. Our guy will probably start throwing up and then say, oh, food's been spoiled. Which is fine. That's something to be expected towards the beginning, when you don't have any smoked food yet. Okay, so, I'd really like to go and start finding a better spot. So, what I do know is that the coastline is to the southwest rather. I guess also southeast, but much farther that way. And as a result, I want to head that direction. Before I go, though, I want to bring a little bit extra things. We're going to bring these 3 lavarets that are least spoiled, and we're going to go on a little adventure. Bring our nets with us in case we go for a little bit longer than I expected. Eat some food. Let's take a look at the... I guess not. Thought there was a better way to see the surroundings from... Oh, dang it, I just entered this village by accident. Okay. Another settlement, another settlement. Wow, we are seriously like in the heart of Drick territory. Don't think I've ever seen so many settlements so close together before. Gonna be another one over here. Another one there. They're all connected by a huge series of roads. It's pretty neat. I don't really want to climb a tree because doing so is kind of dangerous, but it'll give us a good view of the land. Alright, looks like we managed to do so safely enough. Nothing particularly great this over here. Climb a tree here. Ooh, we got a lot of territory over here, and especially this mountain will give us a good view. F6. We gotta be getting close to the shoreline at this point. There's a nice little mire here, which... Oh, wait. Is that... No, it's not a mire. It's some weird forest that I am not sure what the heck it's supposed to be. Another mountain over here. We'll go investigate from there. And we gotta find some water. Oh, look. I think we're getting towards the sand. Ah, there we are. And what's this? Some small little shack out here? I don't know if I really like that. Let me hit F6 and check with the I don't know. F6 again. Says it is a village or settlement. Huh. I'm questioning going there because if they're living alone and they're in the middle of Drick territory... Alright, we'll go investigate. Some kind of settlement. If it's abandoned... Oh, it's not abandoned. There's this dude living here. Is he just living here all by himself? There's a sauna. There's other people here. So it's some kind of small little village, it looks like, over by the coast. There's shops that I can see. But then this is pretty large. It has a sauna, so they probably have shops here. This would be good because we'd have somewhere to trade our goods that would be much closer to the homeland, which I think for a while now is going to be based around this sort of ocean area. Oh, goody, 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 goody. There's a settlement right there. And we will be putting our first little roots probably right here, right along the coast. And we can say goodbye to that old lake, for the time being anyways, and step on down to the coast, get some drink. Lots of rocks here. And let's go ahead and what I really want to do is almost immediately build a raft, get out to sea, and get on an island. But that's going to be a significant investment in resources. Wake up to the rain in the late evening. So obviously we are going to need to make another shelter because it's by the coast, it's quite rainy over here. Alright. And we also need a slender trunk. I see a small tree here. This area is not ideal for permanent settlement either because it has a very low amount of wood to work with. But it will be a good jumping off point to get into the ocean and find a good island to live on for a while. The great thing about islands is they're surrounded by ocean water, and ocean water does not freeze in the winter. You have a constant source of water, constant source of travel, basically, and you have a constant source of income by trade, because you're going to find some villages out on the ocean where the islanders live. They may not have as much material as the Drick, but you'll get by long enough. So we'll build a small little shelter here. Head down to the shoreline, set up our nets, set up a net for catch, right here, there. Do the same with this net here. And I'm going to go ahead and start getting some trees ready for a raft and a paddle as well. It takes 3 tree trunks and 3 cords in order to make a raft. We have enough clothing on that we can sacrifice a little bit of our clothing, cut up a little bit of it, so that we can get a raft and still maintain the integrity of our clothing, so that's good news. M up, move these logs all together, head down here and sleep until noon, afternoon actually, late afternoon. And now we're starting to get into one of the worst sleep cycles, which is only being awake at night and doing all of your work then and passing out for the day. So hopefully that does not continue for too long. Alright, so we're going to make some cord. We do that by going to utility articles. Cord, we want to make 3 pieces of cord. To do that we need 1.5 pounds of cloth. We'll take it out of our tunic. And once we finish, there we go, we have enough to make ourselves a raft, which you can do go M, or Shift M to make the handcrafts, then transport, and we want to pick raft. And we pick our cords, and that'll take several hours to complete probably. Not for sure on that. I guess not. Rafts you can pick up, they weigh 80 pounds though, they're not very mobile. So you don't want to have a raft in your inventory for very long. And rafts are the inferior method of ocean travel. The far better one is the punt, which you can only get with, oh, I need a board, so I'll drop this. Slender trunk. Punts are only made in stores, so you have to trade for a punt, which is fine because they're pretty cheap. They only cost like 15 cups, I think. And we'll cut this up into boards. And look at how slow our hunger is rising now. Wow, it's taking a really long time to cut this up into boards. Oops. Did not mean to do that. Alright, so we need 1 board. Make that into a paddle. You only need 1 paddle. And you have to wield the paddle in order to travel the boat, the raft rather. Another reason this area right here is not good for permanent settlement is that it's not flat, so your house would be on different terrain levels, which for me, you can do it, like there's no penalty in game that I know of for putting it on multiple terrain levels, but there is an aesthetic penalty in that you have to see the cliffside inside your house. So yeah, we're out in the water now, and what I'm going to do is bring our nets with us, some lava and pipe perch. And we're going to say goodbye to the shoreline for now, and find an island real quick. It's a pretty big island, it looks like. I want to find a relatively small one. This one doesn't look bad. You always want to go into the map without having to actually go onto the main map. Well, let's see if there's any flat areas around here. There's a nice flat area around the side. Whoa, that looks weird. Wonder what this is. Crag. I guess that's like a rocky, grassy sort of area. So this obviously is kind of mountainous. Might be a good place to harvest stone from, but I would not want to probably live here. One annoying thing about sea travel is that you get teleported around once you go to the edge, sort of a map zone. And as a result, it can be very hard to find the landmass that you were just looking at. There we are. Yeah, nothing too particularly desirable right there. Looks like this is either a huge island or part of the coast. Let's see. Probably part of the coast. There's some small little islands. And already an islander settlement. Might not be a bad idea to set up around here. This island has conifers. Personally, I prefer the coniferous forests to the deciduous ones. Ooh, and look at that. Nice flat lands here. Yes, this is excellent. Yep. I think this will be our area where we're going to put our first settlement down. So I'll get on the land here. Take a look around. Lots of trees. That's good news. And lots of them are coniferous. So all of them, in fact. And actually, we have some native mead sweets, which I think you can use to make alcohol. So that's interesting. But first things first, let's set up a temporary settlement so we can sleep. Cut some branches out of this tree here. And then once we have those branches, find a small little tree like this one, chop it down. And move it to the area where we are going to put our small little shelter on the island that will probably become one of the long-term bases that we have. Alright, so switch our guys' position around. Make building shelters down. There we go. And it just stopped raining. That's good news, because I hate the noise of the rain. It's incredibly loud in my headset. And it's early morning, which sucks, because we have to go to sleep. Into the rain. Beautiful. Since we now have a raft, we can go out a little bit deeper into the ocean, catch some bigger fish with nets. Right on the shoreline, you kind of catch little guppies, usually. Deeper into the water, you catch much larger fish. Okay, so I'm guessing this area right here, this is going to be where our humble abode will be located for a long time. But the wood is not really usually going to come from right here. The wood will be coming from other islands. We'll need the wood from this island to make stuff with. For now, that stuff will be cups. Lots and lots more of cups. Chop down some trees. And the rain has stopped. That's good news. We can eat some roasted lavarettes. And we need to start a fire real quick, so let's make it out of these twigs. M over, there we go. Alt E burn left. So let's make that out of lavarettes there. Do the same with this pike perch. And let's head up to these logs up here. Chop one of them into blocks. Pick up 3, pick up 2 more, eat some food. Actually, we need to drop these real quick while we go grab that recently cooked stuff. Pick up 3 and 2 more. Make cups. So, I think I'm going to end the video pretty soon, but hopefully after watching this you'll understand a little bit about how to start the game. If you don't completely get it, then just be sure to comment or send me a message or something, and I will reply as soon as I can. Now, remember, this is in 2011, so if you're watching this video in like 2012, please do not spam me with messages, because chances are I will probably have answered that same question a lot by that point. Instead, I would advise that you look at the wiki, which hopefully by your time period will be much more advanced, because I don't know how to contribute to wikis, and I don't think I would spend my time doing it if I did. So hopefully other people will do that, and you will be better off for it. This game's incredibly addicting. It's really hard to stop playing, and that's kind of one of the downsides for me, is I'm going to have to kind of decide what points of the game I'm going to cut in the recording and what points I'm going to play. But yeah, give me a reaction to what you think of this video so far, what you think of this series, and if I should continue it long term or make it more of a side project. I don't know. So with those 6 cups in hand, we will return to our bed and pick it up next time. Bye-bye.